evening, welcome to the planning board meeting of Tuesday, March 19th, 2019. These meetings are recorded. With that, I'll open the meeting and take a motion to meeting. Motion by Pat to accept the previous meeting minutes, second by John. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous at 5. There is no 81Ps tonight. First item will therefore be the amended site plan for 154 to 158 East Main Street, Imperial Hyundai.
John Nanot with the meeting group in Mendon. Just going to hand out some full-size copies.
You mean readable
Larry, you want a new
copies?
one? Larry, you want one?
See over this side.
Just hold on to them, I'll sign them all. I can sign the paper copies, you don't have to make them.
Seen that before.
Huh?
I know,
I think we've seen
I
them.
know.
I was gonna say,
Larry's right, this is overkill, but I'll hand them out if
it
you
is
want.
overkill.
You don't
all
want
that
to
stuff's in
look
the
at
back.
them.
Haven't we seen this already?
So we were here for, I wasn't here that night, but Joe Antonellis came for a recommendation for a variance, and you guys
Right,
denied it.
okay.
But we did go to ZBA, and they did grant us a variance to eliminate the landscape buffer along Hamilton Street. With that elimination, they did have a couple of requests. And their finding was that, for safety reasons, they want us to close up this curb cut coming in front of the building, which we wanted to do anyway. But there was a couple of ZBA members that live, I guess, down in the plains.
Yep.
And they said that people tend to come out and go up Hamilton Street the wrong way from our entrance and from O'Reilly's Auto Parts entrance. So they asked us to put 2 signs, one here that says right turn only and an arrow with the one-way going this way, and one across from O'Reilly's that says, you know, no right turn and the one-way arrow
no
going this
left
way.
turn.
Left turn.
No left turn. And then, also, they required us to put a 12-inch yellow line right along the right-of-way. I've already had that state. The front of the line will be the face of the right-of-way, and we'll have to keep the cars behind that 12-inch line. This is all for vehicle display. There's no customer parking. There's no employee parking. All the cars will face out. It is just vehicle display. It's not parking. Our customer parking is over here. Our employee parking is over here. And in the back. This is all just vehicle display area.
They need to go right.
John, I
Yes.
did see someone coming
can
out
only
of
go right,
Hamilton
no
Street
left.
Monday.
Yeah, so they
Monday
want us,
morning.
they asked us to
There
put
was no way
signs
they
up.
could go. They were, that's the second time I've seen them try to.
I've seen it too down there. Now that I'm down around Hyundai a little bit
Yeah.
more, I've seen it a couple times. So they asked us to put signs up and do the yellow striped line. The variance, I've included the variance in the packet if you want to look at it. The sign has to be approved by the highway surveyor. I don't believe we got a letter back from him, but I'll go and.
John,
stop
quick
myself.
question, on Hamilton Street, is there a sidewalk on
No,
your
there's
side,
not.
or is there one on the opposing side?
No, there's no sidewalks on it.
No sidewalks at all? Okay.
I'll read Larry's letter into the minutes. Applicant requests amended site plan approval for the subject property based on the variance granted by the ZBA at their 1/10/19 meeting. Decision is in our packet. The variance granted relief from section 3.4.4D1 of the zoning bylaw related to landscape buffer strips for the area along the Hamilton Street frontage of the site. For public safety purposes, section 3.4.4A of the zoning bylaw provides for limited driveway curb cuts to 1 driveway per every 200 feet of street frontage in the commercial district. In addition, section 3.4.4C of the bylaw prohibits vehicles backing into the public way. These public safety requirements would appear to remain enforceable as a ZBA variance decision specifically related to the landscape buffer section and does not mention any relief being granted from either of the other sections. Current amended site plan not only eliminates the landscape buffer as per the variance, it also fails to comply with the requirements of section 3.4.4 and section 3.4.4C. The other one was 3.4.4A. which will eliminate any visible definition along the Hamilton Street frontage. Therefore, I recommend approval only if the planning board is satisfied that all applicable requirements of the zoning bylaw are being met. That's the only thing that's in the packet, and I believe what Larry is effectively saying is that they didn't, they may have said all that. I guess I'm somewhat confused in that this was the same board that had tremendous agita about O'Reilly's and wouldn't allow a second exit, but yet they are now allowing total access along this whole end for vehicles to back in and out. Whether they be for
I
Hyundai or
disagree.
not, I really don't care. I mean, to me, I can't understand how they can differentiate. And I can't understand how you're gonna control the fact that your guy is gonna wanna come in and not wanna go out that way or not. So I don't know why they don't require a curb here.
So the definition of a curb cut is an access to a handicap ramp or a driveway. We have no driveways on this side. The only driveway we have is in the back.
That's your
This is-
definition of a driveway.
No, that is the common definition of a curb cut, and that's the state highway definition of a
Well,
curb cut.
I
There's
think-
plenty of highways in the state that don't have curbing along them, and when you go for a curb cut permit, it's where the driveway enters and exits the property. Not where there's the site all along the side, or there's vehicle display.
Well, I
There's
tend-
no,
I tend to-
there's
I
no
tend to
way
disagree
for
with
somebody
that.
to get from our property over here and out onto Hamilton Street. There's no customers, no employees that can do that. The only cars that ever we're gonna pull out here are a vehicle display car that'll have a dealer plate, pull out forward, come around like this, into our parking lot. So there's never been a safety issue. The night I was at ZBA, the police chief and the fire chief were both present, and there's never been an accident of one of our display vehicles with somebody coming in and out of Hamilton Street. There's no safety issues here. It was like this for almost 40 years.
And we've been trying to correct it for almost 40 years.
There's no
And the
vehicles coming
previous
in on
owner
this.
didn't want to, and we finally had it corrected, and now we're going back.
So that's why we went and got a variance.
I don't
You
believe
get
that
a variance
variance
for that.
grants that. And I guess I question how that board could even come back and say
I don't see how you can say
that.
that curb cut bylaw relates to this, when our only driveway is here. Curb cuts from a handicap ramp or a driveway.
No.
No.
This is, yes, it is.
No, that wasn't why it was. Don't try to tell us what's in our regulations.
I'm just telling you
That
what
wasn't
the
the reason for
definition of
that.
a
We've
curb
gone
cut
to
is.
multiple people and tried to correct this, including Upper West Street where there were other vehicles, and we tried to put curbs there, and we try to do this every time because we try to limit
And
that
that's why I went to
usage.
the ZBA. Everybody was well aware of what we were doing here when I went to the ZBA, including the ZBA. That's why they had us put the painted line on the side. They knew there was gonna be no curbing, and in their ZBA decision, they're saying, we're eliminating one curb cut to,
Then
down
they
to
should have
one.
referenced those sections as far as I'm concerned. They referenced the zoning buffer for landscaping.
Everybody was aware of what we were trying to attain here. You're just being picky about the wording.
No, I'm not. I mean, they were the ones that made a big deal about it on O'Reilly's, and they wouldn't allow an extra driveway. Now they're allowing multiple exits along this whole area.
Because it's a different situation,
It's not,
Joe.
to me.
It is. You had customer parking on.
So if you don't have a car along here, all of a sudden all of a
O'Reilly's
sudden,
is all customer parking along the thing. They don't want customers going out into the street.
But it's okay
We don't
if
have
the-
customer parking. We have vehicle display.
so you're never gonna move those cars.
Yes, once in a while, like once every 2 weeks.
How many
a
cars
couple.
did they actually think were gonna come out of O'Reilly's?
I have no idea. There's a lot more customers than vehicle display cars being moved around. This is just for vehicle display. I don't even have.
Well,
I
if
could
it's
come in
only
with a
for
site
vehicle
plan that
display,
doesn't show
then
spaces there, and just shows us all this
If
vehicle
it's
display.
only for vehicle display and we can eliminate those traffic on Hamilton, why can't you come in the other way?
Excuse
And
me?
come in this way? Why can't we put a curb along here and have you set these cars up
Because
this
then we're
way?
stacked 7 deep and we can't get at them. That was the whole idea of eliminating the
So in fact, you have multiple cars in multiple lanes that are gonna come out onto Hamilton Street, because if you're 7 deep,
If we
No,
have
no.
to
if
get
you're
it- the
7
second-
deep,
no,
the
there's
second
2
lane is
deep.
gonna go.
There's 2
Oh, now we're
deep
2
there.
deep. Oh, not 7.
John,
So now
if
there's-
you refer to the picture, I think it's a little easier
Yeah,
for
this
you
is
to
what it looks
understand
like right now.
what he's
All
trying-
these face out.
If you look at the picture, I think you
It's
understand
just
what he means by
vehicle
7
display.
deep.
No, I'm just,
No, so, and then sometimes there's cars parked here, so these would all have to come out to get a car out of there.
And where's the third line gonna come out when they're all parked there? They're gonna come out onto
No,
Hamilton
so
Street,
if
you're
it's
gonna be
this
moving
line,
3
we
cars.
pull these out, no, we go the easiest way. If we can get it
The
this car
third
from
deep,
here.
the easiest way is Hamilton Street if there's 7
No,
deep. I
the
hate
second
to tell
deep
you.
is the easiest way.
You're
and the
showing
third deep-
parking there now.
Yeah, so we would pull 2 cars around, park them here, pull the third car out, then bring them back and back them in.
Exactly. So you have 3 cars through 3 lengths of.
Once every 2 or 3 weeks.
well, subject
There's
to a
never been a
customer.
Well,
safety.
then you must be
there's
going
never
out of
been a-
business if you can only move them
The
3
car
times
dealership's
in
been
3
there
weeks.
40 years, and there's never been a safety issue with us there. Never. And a curb cut is defined as an entrance to a driveway, not to a vehicle display area. This is our curb cut for, off Hamilton Street.
With your drawing, you've got a curb cut down by East Main, and you've got a curb cut up at the north end. So you've got one 200 and some foot.
We have
wide
one
driveway.
here and one here.
You've got a 200-foot long driveway, or 300-foot long driveway.
No, we
You
don't have a
any
driveway. We
definition
have a
of the street.
vehicle display area. It's not even a parking lot, Larry. It's a vehicle display area. It is not a parking lot. It is not a driveway. There's
Well,
no.
that's by
ac-
your,
there's
that's by
no
your
access for
definition, which
customers.
meets what you wanna do.
No, I'm not.
certainly doesn't meet what
That's
the town
common-
wants to
It's
do.
the Webster Dictionary definition. Read it. I included it in my packet. It's the common definition. There is no definition in your bylaws, so I looked it up on the dictionary. That's the common definition of curb cut. To a
And-
driveway.
And Larry can actually say, and what
The Mass
separates that
Highway
from any other?
definition
You
is
can
to
define
a
anything of that
driveway.
as,
To a driveway, Joe.
you're defining it.
I'm not defining it. Webster,
Well,
See, here's the reality,
look at
Joe.
the definition.
No, hold on. Here's the reality. We believe that the curb cut was corrected when they had the landscape buffer. That's what we believe.
Right.
What he then did is he went to the zoning board. The zoning board, for whatever reason, said, no, you can do it. You are 110% because we have collectively, specific to car dealers, asked them to close it up, have a defined entrance, a defined exit, defined display area, showing that there was curbing. We did it on 140. We did it right across the street at the former Mobico. Those are just 2 off the top of my head. We did it on Green Street at the car wash. You're not, you're 110% correct. That's what we have done as a board. Regrettably, on this one, he went to the zoning board. And again, so you're not wrong, because this is how we've taken it, okay? And when they come in front of us for site plans, that's the process that we followed. They went to zoning board, like it or not, and
Well-
again, here's the thing. Collectively, I think as a board, we voted, I think it was maybe 4-1, if not unanimous, not to support it. They were able to get it, and I'm not trying to split here, but the reality of it is,
well, and that's fine, and they can go back to the zoning board and specifically
we
get
both
that
know
and
what's gonna
reference that.
happen.
Well, that's fine, but I want them to specifically say it, seeing how I don't see that this has that much difference than what O'Reilly's did. And if O'Reilly ever came back, I want to have that in there, that they don't think this is an issue. Because when you're moving 3 cars out through 30 deep or 20 deep, and however many you're gonna do that, that has less impact on traffic than the number of cars that would have come out of the O'Reilly. So to me, that's fine, yeah, I'm sure they probably will get it. But I would like the zoning board to specifically reference a section that says they don't need to do that. And that's all I'm saying. Because, yeah, you're probably absolutely right.
John, what I like,
I
what
actually
I,
think the board is being so picky here. I understand that.
I think we have the right to.
I understand that the ZBA granted a variance on something that you didn't want. But everybody was aware what the intent was to remove the curb so that we could park cars here and not drive them off a curb. Every single person in this room and at ZBA was aware of the total intent of what we were trying to do here.
Then I
You're
think
just
it's
picking hairs
behooving of the
and-
ZBA to
Well,
write the
that's-
decision
That's
correctly.
what you wanted to do. Why didn't you mention those other 2 sections in your
Because I
application?
don't feel that this is a curb cut. This is the curb cut.
We certainly
And the
felt there
ZBA
was
didn't
along the
feel-
whole way.
And the ZBA didn't feel that because they said we're closing a curb cut, making this safer by only having 1 curb cut. Specifically in
Well,
the
that doesn't
decision,
mean
they
that they
state that.
necessarily know what they're talking about when it comes to.
Well,
site
they're the
plan
zoning
review.
board of appeals. They're
Yeah,
the
they do, but they're
zoning,
not the
they're the
site plan
zoning
review.
board in the town. So
what I would rather
hopefully
see,
they
John-
do know what they're talking about because they're the zoning board in the town.
John, again, I'm not gonna split here between us and the zoning board. Again, my true belief is, when you look at this as a site plan, when we initially did, that's why it was enclosed, okay? True transparency. When you came back and asked for a recommendation, that's why, again, I can't remember if it was 4-1 or unanimous.
4-1.
I thought so, but wasn't sure. That's why we didn't support it. Again, I'm not splitting here between you and the zoning board or us and the zoning board. Joe just understanding what his values are and in terms of what he believes is a curb cut really represents. With that said, to me, you went to the zoning board, you got what you were looking for, which was to revert back to what it's been to, as you said, 40 years, okay? So again, I'm not gonna sit here and cry over spilt milk. What I will say is, what I really don't wanna see, and previously, it was that area that you're now reopening was not specifically reserved for display cars only.
It is now.
Hold on, I just said previously, it was not specific to display cars only. So if you're gonna put a line in, I'd like to also see perhaps maybe another additional hash line that says display area only, because I don't want customers to park there. So if you can come up with some sort of verbiage, and you can't obviously say no parking, so if you can come up with something that, to me, gives the distinction that that's not customer parking, or you go within the confines of your lot somewhere and you specifically say customer parking. I don't want the confusion. I don't want cars backing into Hamilton Street, regardless of how less traveled it may be.
So there's two options. We can have it painted on right in the spaces, display space only, each individual space as a stencil.
I don't know what's easier for you. I don't know what's better, I don't know what's better visibility.
I'm giving the.
Yep,
I'm
I don't know
giving
what's
some
better
recommendations.
visibility.
We could do a big one, display space only, but I think the smaller ones in each space would be more appropriate. I could hatch the spaces.
Right?
I just,
Why don't you do a mountable curb where the end of
because
the.
he got a variance for that. We gotta let that go. I'm sorry.
You didn't get a variance for a curb, you got a variance for a
I
landscape
did, Larry.
buffer.
The landscape buffer, everybody knows was the circle of the curve.
I'm not gonna split here. When he came in front of us for a recommendation, in my mind, I knew damn well what he wanted. I didn't support it. 3 other of us didn't support it. 1 did. Again, I'm not gonna sit here and start reinventing the wheel. I just don't,
I'm
I
more
don't
than
think it's
happy
right.
to label all
But I'd
these
like to see
spaces,
something
hatch all
to
these
prohibit
spaces.
customers from parking there, because again, I'm only going because you referenced 40 years, and you're probably right.
Yeah.
But I can only stipulate that previously, it was not designated cars display area alone, so.
So I can either do I can do some signs, but we would rather have it on the, right on the thing, I think.
It wasn't labeled car display only, but that's what it was always used for, car display.
No, but you used to be able to park there as well as a customer, babe, I did it. I did it a couple of times,
Only
I'm
by-
sorry, but I did
Only by
it.
the building, the rest of the area where the.
down the end it always was.
If you
This
go
was
down there
open.
now, it's full all the way down the side.
Like I
There's
said,
no
I'm
place
just
to put it.
asking for just something as a distinction. I'm just
Absolutely.
trying to
So,
be.
I'll tell you
I'm not
what,
trying to
on
be
the
helpful,
building,
John, I'm just saying.
on the building over here, we can mount some signs that say vehicle display only, no parking.
And
And on these spaces where we can't put a sign, we can stencil it on the ground in each space. Vehicle display only, no parking,
And I'm fine with
just like
that.
that. And you can make that part of the site plan approval.
that covers it.
And that'll make
Well,
sure
again,
that there's
if
no
the fear is
customers
that there are
parking
people
in
gonna
that
back
lane.
into Hamilton Street, theoretically cause an accident, whatever, that, I'm trying to avoid that
So I
fear.
have no problem doing that. I'll put a sign on every space over here, and I'll paint every space over here, along with the 12-inch line that ZBA is required. If the board's amendable to that.
I like that.
That's just my 2 cents.
You're welcome.
I don't know if there's any other questions. I don't.
Questions?
That'll do it.
Anyone else?
Nope.
I'll make the motion to amend the site plan subject to
Second.
the additional verbiage. And again, whatever's best for you, I'm not a huge advocate of defacing your building if you choose not to, but something that certainly delineates what its intent is, that's all. And the hashtags and the combination of both, whereas if you do the hashtags in yellow and then you, big white letters, you know what I'm saying,
Yep.
spaced out properly, I don't really care. I just think that,
Absolutely, no problem.
I'm just trying to avoid a situation, that's all.
Motion been made to approve the amended site plan, subject to the addition of some mechanism to indicate that the spaces along Hamilton Street are for display purposes only. Second by Babe. Motion by Pat. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 4 in favor, 1 opposed.
Thank you, appreciate it. I'll add that on there. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. Seeing everybody.
Good to see you.
Have a good
Good
night.
luck, Grandpa.
Yeah, I can't wait. Another girl though, that'd be number 5 for me. No boys, I wouldn't know what to do with a boy.
Girls can do almost anything today.
Yeah.
Next one is ZBA variance, 154 to 158 East Main, no, what am I saying, well, Highland Street. ZBA variance Highland Street, Paul Esposito. I'll read Larry's letter. Applicant requests a variance to subdivide the existing lot. The application is incomplete as no subdivision plan has been submitted. The subject property consists of a conforming 44,477 square foot lot in the RB zone. RB District Single Family Zone requires a minimum lot size of 15,000 square feet, 100 foot of lot width, and 90 feet of lot frontage. Without an actual engineered subdivision plan, it is impossible to properly evaluate the application. Therefore, I recommend the application be continued until the proper engineering plans are submitted.
Okay.
This is,
Is this yours, sir?
yeah, that's Gutierrez. These are the lots up on Highland Street.
Well, the problem is I don't know how they're trying to subdivide them.
Yeah, they give lot
They said
areas,
it-
but you can't really see. I
The-
mean, it would be nice to,
Yeah, he's
Like to have
not
somebody come.
recognizing that there's a lot width requirement as well as a lot frontage
You know where
requirement.
that is?
It's not clear whether it's
The-
creating two conforming lots and one non-conforming lot, or, you know, because, you know, he's just going by choice alone.
Where's West Fountain Street?
this is,
Right,
Oh, okay, I know where that is.
You got it?
The only vacant
Yeah,
piece
the only
on
vacant piece on Highland
I
Street,
got it
really.
now, it's right.
So he needs to get his act together, but since they had to continue some
What
meetings.
numbers,
maybe we'll
do you know what number West Street they'd be?
39, no.
No,
That's-
Well,
no,
it's
I don't
across
know.
from- The numbers are on there.
Oh, on yours, Larry?
It's across from, what is that?
I can't see, that's why I was
55.
asking. I don't
Is
know
that
if it
across
was.
from the Apple Orchard?
Yeah, it looks like it.
49,
Yeah, in that area, yeah, this is Bandy's right here.
Yeah, exactly.
anyway.
there's a
You
big,
know where that is,
Yeah.
don't you?
The problem
This
is, I
this
don't know
is,
how they're trying to subdivide it.
Lucy's was just down the way, a couple lots from here where they ended up subdividing that into 3 lots. Yeah, I mean, they really
I don't
need
know
to
if they're
show
trying to
the
do like
property
98,
lines.
You know, ask for a
Well-
2-foot God knows what they're trying to ask for, I don't know.
Well, he indicates that he's got 2 conforming lots and 1 non-conforming is what he wants, but whether that actually works out or not, he says the 2 15,000 and 1 14,262.
Which is all he's doing is dividing.
Right, and he's
So, but,
using 90 foot of frontage and not 100 foot of width.
That's what I'm
Right.
saying, so I don't know exactly
Yeah.
how this, so
Right.
I recommend what Larry said, that this be postponed from lack of information and a proper engineered plan. Because I don't know how you can give a recommendation based on incomplete data.
We had him come before us.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it's going to the zoning board.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to be fair, I don't wanna render a no.
I wasn't recommending that you not report, which would prevent them from acting. I'm recommending that they continue until they get information.
I would recommend that as well, I mean,
Anyway, but
well, I have 2 choices, I guess I can make an unfavorable based on lack of information.
Right,
Or I can simply suggest that this should be remanded because of lack of information. So what's the flavor? You want me to? If you think it's going to the zoning board, then it doesn't matter what I say, but.
Right.
well.
I don't know when the.
What would you recommend?
When's their next meeting?
They've
Probably-
been
probably
moved because
Thursday.
because of faulty notice, so I'm not sure when this one's gonna be on.
All right, well,
I think he's got time to fix it, so, you know, it doesn't matter either way.
I think
Yeah.
he should come before us.
You could recommend that,
ask them for,
I would recommend then
Yeah,
that they,
I think he
that
should
they,
come before us, Pat.
that it be continued.
but see, we're only gonna meet once
Yeah.
next month.
Give us a
So I
plan.
would just,
They don't
I
have
wouldn't
to
get into the
That's what I mean.
continuation thing, I would just
don't need 'em.
recommend,
You know what?
denial
We'll
for
make,
lack of
we'll make it easy
information.
then. I'll recommend a unfavorable based on the lack of information, specific, the engineered plans and not understanding
Right.
if there's other variances that may be required, because I don't really know.
No one knows, I know it.
Motion been made to send an unfavorable recommendation to the zoning board due to the lack of information in the packet, and no engineered plans were submitted with the application. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that one.
Seconded by Lena. All those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous at 5. No, it doesn't.
Okay.
All right, the last one we have is
The extension.
extension for Gutierrez Company, which, the information, was sent out to us, this morning by Larry. The letter is in your packet. I'm not gonna read it in. The extension is requested, to
3 months from today.
3 months, yeah. 6/19/19
Right.
is the request, and the work to be done, if you looked at the packet, was pretty much the, I believe mostly the top coat and the finish work along the sides, this existing pavement, if you wanted. Go ahead.
That's correct. Israel Lopez for the Gutierrez, with the Gutierrez Company, and that's correct. What's remaining is, actually, the light poles are in, what's remaining is really the binder and the top coat and the sidewalk curbing that goes in along that end of the road. About 95% complete.
The base course is in, but
The base course is in.
I have a problem.
questions, comments from the board? Your motion?
I'll make a motion to extend.
Motion by Babe to extend, to 6/19/19. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Lena. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Well, I can't be opposed, I mean.
Unanimous at
Today's the
5.
last day, what am I supposed to do? It's not done. I mean, what am I supposed to do, tell them no?
I'm
Knowing
believing
you, you might.
They had to change contractors anyway.
I'm just saying, what am I supposed to do? Today, it ran out today.
All right, now,
Put me over a barrel.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Before we leave, I'd like to talk to you about the Amazon parking situation. I went to the gym on Monday. There was not a parking space to be had in front of the Gold's Gym. I walked in there and I said, geez, for all the cars that are there, there's hardly anybody here. The person behind the desk said that his boss had called the person in charge of all this and they haven't gotten back to him. Amazon is now taken over all of the parking spots, all in front of the businesses, Gold's Gym, down by Linnell's and all that whole area. And I'd like to know why that is, and is there a way we can send them a letter stating that they're parking anywhere they want?
Have the building inspector, the building commissioner go down and do it. He's in charge of zoning.
Ah,
Chasing balloons down on Hyundai, and then go chase the cars in the parking spot.
well, anyway, I wanted to bring that up to the planning board, to let you all know that, as usual, and Pat, I'm sure you're happy about that.
No, Lena, the only thing I'm gonna say to you, and as you know, they are my least favorite.
I know that, I know.
Favorite entity, however, but plus. I go down to Gold's between 4:45 and 5 in the morning. And I can tell you that for the most part, it's inactive, meaning they're vans, but the vans are where they should be,
Right,
to my way of thinking. Past that, I can't tell you, but I'd like to assume that one parks here, grabs his van, and then they infill, but I can't speak to whether they're doing that or not, but I can tell you in the morning, it appears that they are where they should be.
well, at 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, the
And again,
cars
you
are
know,
filled,
the-
and the person behind the desk at Gold's Gym has said that those are not the people that belong here. It's Amazon's people are parking all in that lot. I mean,
I would hope that
know-
that Gold's Gym goes to their
Landlord.
landlord and complains.
well, I told them that. I said, your
Considering their
boss-
landlord is making money by doing it, and the control should be partly his besides the town's.
Right.
It behooves him to control the parking that is there if he wants to keep his other tenants. Apparently he doesn't, and that's up to say
No,
with him. But
I just want-
Larry, to that point, if you could just indicate to the building department that there has been complaints made to the planning board that they are parking all over, and if they ask them if they could go down and make some spot checks to see if they're keeping within
Yep.
what is approved on the site plan.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it for me.
Motion to dismiss.
Motion by Pat to adjourn. Do I hear a second?
Good, I'll second.
Seconded by John. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous at 5.